Don't you dare, ref. That's he got the ball. Good afternoon, Tottenham fans right across the world, and hopefully you're enjoying this lovely Friday evening. It is cracking weather over here in Ireland. But after a very shaky performance Wednesday night, and we got away with one, yes, we're in the next round of the Cup, but the pressure is still on Ange Postecoglou. It's done nothing to relieve the pressure on him with the manner of the performance. And for tomorrow's game, we welcome Brentford to N17 down to Tottenham Hotspur, and it's not going to be an easy game. Brentford, for Postecoglou since his arrival, has been a very notorious difficult team to sort of overcome. I think we drew 2-2 down at their place last season, and we ended up coming back and winning 3-2 at our place last season. So it's going to be a very tough game, and you would like to say Brentford probably do everything that we hate. You know, they sit back, low block, very compact, very, very good defensively, don't give away a lot of space or a lot of chances, but also going forward, they like to hit on the counter out wide, and also a huge danger from set pieces. So not going to be an easy game for Tottenham Hotspur. With Man United and Brighton on the horizon in the league, it doesn't get any easier, and we have to pick up 3 points here. No excuses. Bit of quick team news for you. Wilson Udeberg looks like he's going to be out for a significant period of time after suffering a hamstring injury against Coventry. No Richarlison either, who Postecoglou said will also be out for a significant amount of time. But Bissouma does return. Timo Werner is fit and available for this game. And also, Ali Gold putting out, Will Lancashire has returned to training, so we will see him on the bench in future. But guys, let's get into it. The lineup that I think Postecoglou will pick for tomorrow's game. Starting in goals, Fraser Forster got the nod Wednesday night against Coventry City and was absolutely shocking. Inside 30 seconds, misplaced pass to Lucas Bergvall probably set the tone for the night. And not once did he come out from any set pieces, crosses into the box, and catch that ball cleanly. He was very, very shaky. So boy, am I glad to have the return of Vicario back in goals here. However, against Arsenal, he got exposed again from set pieces. Yes, a lot of the attention went on Romero, and rightly so, for sort of losing Gabriel, but that ball is delivered right in on top of him in his 6-yard box. He really needs to be a lot more commanding, come out and really help his back line out. In that 6-yard box, with that ball coming in, you've got players from the opposition coming in attacking you, and they always have a couple of yards to get that run at you, which gives them that leverage. Where we are inside our 6-yard box, we're jumping from a standing position, so it's very hard for us to be able to get up and compete. And that's where the defenders are really turning around, looking at Vicario to be able to come off his line and really help him out and start claiming some of them, punching them away, and stealing a little bit of confidence into that back line. And why I find it also very unforgiving is because it's an area that was highlighted last season with Vicario. He hasn't shown any signs of improvement, but also the goalkeepers are one of the most protected species on the football pitch. Usually if they get any sort of nudge, there's a free kick given their way. So even if he comes out and he gets a nudge or he gets, obstructed, he's going to get the decision. So for Vicario, especially for this game against Brentford, they're going to target set pieces. In fact, if you go and listen to interviews from Ben Mee in years gone by, Thomas Frank, they're on bonuses for set pieces, and that's why they're so good at defending one end and so clinical with them at the other end. So Vicario will need to be aware of this heading into this game and start dealing with them. No more excuses for this guy. In terms of shot stopping, ball playing ability, one of the best in the world. But if he really wants to really reach that next level, he has to become more commanding of his area, which instills more confidence into that back line. Moving in at right back, and it will be the return of Pedro Porro, and I feel like going forward, he is going to be absolutely key to unlocking this door. Like we said, with Brentford, they like to sit back, compact, nice defensive shape, don't give up much. We're going to need Pedro Porro putting them balls in the box for Dominic Solanke. He's really short of supply up front, Dominic Solanke. The wingers ain't really providing them crosses. And one thing Pedro Porro was doing with Richarlison, he was able to find them from different angles all over the pitch down that right-hand side. And I think he needs to start doing the same with Solanke. But in terms of set pieces, maybe corner kick deliveries, but especially crosses into the box, he's going to be absolutely key. And if one falls his way, you might just well see an absolute banger from the postman here in this game, but going to be key to unlocking the door for us going forward, as he is one of our most creative outlets. Now moving on to left back, I was very surprised that he started during the week against Coventry City, because a couple of games earlier on the season he was having to come off with muscle fatigue and muscle soreness. I thought Wednesday night would have been the ideal opportunity to rest someone like Destiny Udogie. However, he did start, and ultimately he done alright. He done well defensively, and that's one one thing with Destiny Udogie, he is very good defensively, but going forward, sometimes I find his touch is almost very heavy, which helps the opposition turn over possession very easily. And also, one thing that I'm starting to become annoyed with Destiny Udogie, he needs to tone it down a little bit. He's a big guy, he's stocky, he's got the right build, you know, he's strong, he's going to outmuscle most people in the league, or at least force them backwards. But I find Destiny Udogie gives away a lot of silly free kicks, and it is starting to become a little bit detrimental, because all you're doing is taking the pressure off the opposition, allowing them to send bodies forward, and they're just going to put that ball into the box. So Udogie needs to be a little bit more clever in that regard. He did score against Brentford in the 3-2 win at the back end of last season. Could he score again today? Let me know in the comments below. Now at right-sided centre-back, after given a rest during the week against Coventry, which I think rightly so, Christian Romero will come back into the side. If I remember correctly, he might have scored in that 2-2 at their place last season, and he is a good source and a good outlet of goals up the other end for us, which shows he can compete in the air. But defensively from set pieces, the guy switches off an awful lot. Prime example, allowing Gabriel to get the run at him and losing his man in the North London derby. That cannot continue to happen. We can't continue to make the same mistakes. And no doubt about it, he's going to be tested yet again here from Brentford, again from set pieces. And he really has to learn to stay switched on. If he can go up the other end and score goals and compete, there's no excuses for him not being able to defend and compete at our end. It just comes down to hunger and desire. And don't get me wrong, this guy has not started the season well whatsoever defensively. He's cost us a lot of goals, but I do think Romero will get stronger as the campaign goes on, and hopefully with that rest midweek we will see a fully fit, recharged Romero ready to go and back to his best, because one thing he is brilliant for us is in terms of on the ball build up play. One thing I have noticed though, he does tend to avoid Brennan Johnson a lot. I can understand why. There are certain players sometimes, if they keep giving away the ball or they're not going to do much with it, you tend to not give them the ball and look elsewhere. And people can say it doesn't happen at this level. Go back to Real Madrid, Karim Benzema, Vinicius Jr., what went on there. If it happens at that level, it certainly happens at Tottenham Hotspur. But with Romero as well, one thing I've noticed in games, especially when we're trying to chase the games, he slows the game down an awful lot. He allows the opposition to get back into the defensive structure that they've been working on all week. At times I would like to see him quicken up that play, move it with a bit of speed, and start moving the ball with a bit more purpose, like he was for large parts of last season, and since he's arrived here, which has endeared himself into the Tottenham fan base's heart. Now moving on to left-sided centre-back, and it will be Mickey van de Ven. He will have a tough afternoon. It will either be Kevin Schade or it will be Mbeumo probably coming at him. So his recovery pace will be tested for large parts of this game when Brentford do get the ball and look to hit us on the counter. But also I'll be looking at Mickey van de Ven going forward. You know, he's shown that he can score goals on the edge of the box. He's shown that he can run the length of the pitch and assist players. I absolutely love this guy. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I do hope we can hold on to him for quite some time. He reminds me a lot of Jan Vertonghen in his defensive style, in the way he is going forward, that left foot of his. And one thing I like about Mickey van de Ven, every time he gets that ball, he progresses it very, very quickly down that left-hand side, especially when Son is out there as that left winger. Now, moving into the CDM role, a bit of a selection headache here. Bissouma by Postecoglou has been past fit to be able to play this game. But how fit is he? Is he fit enough to start the game and give it his all? Or is he going to be resigned to minutes off the bench? I'm guessing that he missed the Coventry game during the week. It will be him starting here today. And I think it's a huge game for Bissouma. You know, he's got a big point to prove to the Spurs fan base. That game he played against Everton, he was absolutely superb. Missing the North London derby, I think he was a huge miss on the day. I think in that deeper position, he provides a bit more maybe urgency on the ball than maybe what Bentancur does. I think Bentancur, what we seen Wednesday night, getting higher up the pitch, turning the ball over, and he has that eye for a pass. I think he would be much more suited to this number 8 role in the Tottenham team, because if you take yourself back to Antonio Conte days, Højbjerg out of the two was the one that sort of sat a little bit more, and Bentancur was the one tasked to get up with play, and he got a lot of assists, a lot of goals, and he is a threat from set pieces for us as well. But in that deeper position, sometimes I think Bentancur maybe plays it a bit too safe or is a little bit too slow on the ball. I think Bissouma quickens it up a little. Plus, Bissouma gives us a little bit more physicality back there in that number 6 role as well. And we need an absolute huge performance from Bissouma. You know, that 10-game run last season, it dropped off as soon as his performance started dropping off, as soon as he was in and out of the team. And I do think that shows how crucial he is to this system working. But for the system to really work, he has to be at his absolute best, and hopefully he is. One word of warning for Bissouma: it is John Brooks as the referee. If anyone cast themselves back to that Luton game last year where he got sent off for 2 yellows and the second one for diving, it was this referee that sent him off. So Bissouma, you're not going to get away with any stupid challenges. You're not going to get away with diving. Just concentrate on the game and you will be fine. Moving into the number 8 role, I know I said Bentancur would be better suited there. However, you cannot leave this man out of the team right now. It is Dejan Kulusevski, the most informed Tottenham player. Hit pre-season, ground running. And what I love about that, there were so many questions about Dejan Kulusevski. You know, is he good enough? Where is he going to play? All that sort of jazz. But he came back to pre-season with a point to prove. And it doesn't matter where Postecoglou played him. He had a point to prove, and he's proved that. And he's now found himself in this midfield, in that starting lineup, in that creativity berth that he so desperately wants. And that's where my problems come in with other players over the course of pre-season. Many people made excuses for them. It's pre-season. You know, they're only using it for fitness. But most of them had a point to prove. And Dejan Kulusevski is the only one that came back with the right attitude. And it's reflecting itself so far earlier on into this season. So it shows the benefit of when it clicks, when a player finally gets it and shows the right attitude, what it can actually do for a player, rather than mope and blame everybody else and bemoan his luck. So fair play to Dejan Kulusevski there, showing the right attitude, showing the right intent, but was absolutely crucial in us getting that result the other night when he came off the bench against Coventry. You know, set up Jed Spence for his equaliser. Nice little ball through from Dejan Kulusevski, but also had a couple of opportunities before then. Before that, we were void of opportunities. So fair play to him coming on and providing that bit of creativity that we need. Even though we brought on Son and Maddison before that, who sort of failed to provide that creativity we need, he's the only guy that came off the bench and really made that impact along with Jed Spence. One little thing I will say about Dejan Kulusevski is I do think he needs to become a lot more of a goal threat. Sometimes I find that he gets in good positions, but sometimes isn't selfish enough. Sometimes you're looking at him, you're like, just have a shot, and he lays it off and you're scratching your head going, why? Sometimes I just think he needs to be a bit braver, a bit more selfish. And once he adds a bit more goals to his game and keeps bringing that creativity, we've got one hell of a player on our hands. And now moving over to the other side, the number 10 role, the guy that is tasked, supposed to bring the creativity and is really struggling in this system, is James Maddison. And it's a difficult one, you know, because I'm sure James Maddison would like to be further up the pitch, picking up that ball and threading passes through, which he finds himself an awful lot. And don't get me wrong, I think he's getting better. I see him playing some lovely balls, especially down that left-hand side for the wingers. But it's when he drops into the deeper positions for me, I would like to see him be a bit more proactive. And don't get me wrong, it shows signs that, you know, he is a good player because he has the awareness to drop into space to be and know where to get into space to be able to get on the ball and make things happen. But when he does that in a deeper position, sometimes I feel like he just lays it off sideways. Or you know, takes the easy option. For me, if I'm a creative player and I'm dropping deep to get that ball, it's because I'm frustrated I'm not getting in the higher up areas. I also, when I receive that ball, I want to make something happen so that when people are on the ball next time, they're looking to give it to me so that I can start dictating this game going forward. So I do want to see him take a lot more risk in that deeper position, because one thing he has is the ability to be able to switch play, put it out to the right winger, put it out to the left winger, drop it in behind the fullback. And I just want to see a little bit more of that from James Maddison. He's slowly getting there, and hopefully with more games we'll start unlocking that from him. But that's just one area of the game I'd like to see a little bit more leadership from someone like James Maddison. Now, moving into the forward line, and this is our biggest problem. We actually dominate possession and do really well to get us up into that final third. But when we get into that final third, it is so void of any craft, creativity, that je ne sais quoi, that X factor. You know, it's very dull, it's very boring, it's very repetitive. And, you know, if us fans know exactly how dull and repetitive and boring it is and what we're trying to do, the opposition who have scouts, people working on the game coming up for the week, know exactly how to be able to stifle us. And it's becoming a huge problem. However, we'll start with right wing. Brennan Johnson, don't get me wrong, I don't think he done an awful lot the other night coming off the bench in terms of creativity, but when that moment presented itself, he put it away. And as Jack described it, maybe that big boy moment for Brennan Johnson. You know, the fact that he starts one, comes off the bench for one, probably shows the up and down nature of Brennan Johnson's season so far. But when the moment arrived, he took it away and sent us through to the next round of the League Cup. Now, one thing I don't agree with is people that are sitting there personally DMing him, putting abuse on his social media page for him to see. That's absolutely nasty. It's absolutely wrong. And we're all human beings at the end of the day. No matter how frustrated you are with him as a footballer, it doesn't mean you have the right to go and start doing that to the guy. It's absolutely wrong. Criticise him on his football by all means. But with Brennan Johnson, he's not out the woodwork yet. I do hope that goal can maybe be that catalyst for that bit of confidence that he needs to really sort of kick on. But where Brennan Johnson struggles is when he starts game, he doesn't quite have that craft, that ability to be able to skin his man, take a player or two out of the game and deliver that devastating cross that's required. He is a player that's more suited later on in games when the game's opened up. There's a lot more space. Like the other night, put him in behind. That's where Brennan Johnson is good. But in this system where teams set up low block against us, or the way we dominate, we force them backwards, he has to show that other side to the game. His crossing the other night was absolutely piss poor. I know he scored the goal, but it was piss poor. And that is one area, if he can bring that to his game, most fans wouldn't have a criticism to say about the guy. Hopefully, he can bring it here against Brentford, because we badly need it. And in credit to the guy, he sparked that comeback last year against Brentford 3-2 at our place. Hopefully, he can be the catalyst again here today and build on that goal from the Coventry City game. Moving out to left wing, and I will be putting our captain, Sonny, on the left wing. Come off the bench the other night, I thought it was very disappointing. Probably going through a little bit of a confidence crisis himself. There against Arsenal, I've seen him cut in many a times, but not really wanted to take on that shot, looking for the pass and that. And I just think with Son, don't get me wrong, he's an absolute world-class player, and I don't think it's all him. I don't think we should be pulling out him specifically for the problems, because when he does get the ball, he is one of the only players that drives at his opponent, tries to take them out of the game and tries to find that final ball. But he really needs to step up now. This is why managers pick captains. When they're going through these tough times, that is the captain that can help spur the team on, help drag the manager out of this situation. And there's a lot on Son right now. Hopefully he can do it for this Brentford game, because if he doesn't, it's shown in games gone by. If Son doesn't step up like the North London derby, Tottenham have no answer. Tottenham have no one else ready to step up, put the ball in the back of the net, and ultimately we end up dropping points. So we really do need Son to be at his best here, and hopefully the fact that he was largely rested Wednesday night, he is fully fit and ready to go, and hopefully can be the catalyst for this victory. We badly need him. And then moving into the guy up front, it is Big Dom Solanke. Look, some would say struggling at Tottenham right now, paid 65 million, 4 or 5 games into the season, hasn't scored a goal. But bar that first game of the season, the Leicester game, where you could potentially put it down to sharpness, we've absolutely provided zero for this guy in terms of opportunities. He's not your typical false nine where he's going to drop deep like Harry Kane used to do, vacate that position, drop deep, get on the ball, spray balls in behind. He's your typical target man. He's going to be an option for you to play it into feet, be an option to be able to slide it down between the centre-back and the full-back, but also play on the shoulder of the last defender for when them crosses come in to be able to get his head on the end of it. Like, you take 2 crosses near the end of the first half against Coventry, and it sort of sums up, what's this guy really supposed to do with the little service he is living off. Ferner cut inside to deliver a cross, went straight to the goalkeeper's hands, and Brennan Johnson done it the same side 2 minutes later, went straight into goalkeeper's hands. I mean, if you're Dominic Solanke, what are you supposed to do? Largely don't get me wrong, the other night, I thought he was poor when the ball did come to his feet, but against Arsenal, when the ball did come to his feet, he held it up relatively well. But outside of that, he needs chances provided for him. He needs chances created for him. And we are not doing that. And the longer it goes on for Dominic Solanke not scoring, the more that pressure is going to build, the more that pressure is going to eat away at him, and the more that pressure is going to erode his confidence. I think it's very important we try and get him off the mark this game. Hopefully, Richarlison scored in that 3-2 last season. Hopefully it's a good omen that our striker's going to get on the scoreline for this game as well. But we need a big game from Dominic Solanke, and he definitely needs a goal despite being starved of service, and hopefully this is the game it comes. But guys, that's my predicted lineup for the big game tomorrow. Like I said, a must win. Please get in the comments, Guys, give me your thoughts on the starting lineup. Am I being harsh? Is there anybody from the Carabao Cup game Wednesday night does deserve a start here in this starting 11? But also give me your predicted lineup in the comments below. Hopefully we can get the victory and ease that tension, ease that pressure around Tottenham Hotspur, because look, nobody wants this to prolong, nobody wants this to go on any longer. We just want to start winning games and seeing the signs of something good going forward. But it doesn't all just depend on the manager. It also depends on this 11 here stepping up, showing a bit of cojones, under previous managers. And yes, it's been previous squads, but as a recurring team at Tottenham Hotspur, when the going gets tough, we quit. What we should be doing is living up to the old saying, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And hopefully they can take that motto, lead it into this game, and go and get the 3 points and deliver it over the line, and just give us what we want, their players what they want, and the manager what he wants, which is to win and go and push us in a direction towards trophies. Big game tomorrow, guys. Get a good night's sleep tonight. Come on, you Spurs. In the big hands I still trust.